All right. So we did kind of got introduced to what this fifth chakra is about. It's again the fifth point within the heart region, and the prominent element is air. Color is green, location is throat. The main feelings are clarity, discernment, certainty, confusion, chaos, delusion. So, and this is very peculiar. It does have both clockwise and counterclockwise vibrations, depending on whether we are in a confused state or whether we are in a clarity state, right? So that is fifth chakra. So let me start reading, and then again, please stop if you have to share anything, or if you have any questions, right? So, but while the chapters in this book are necessarily sequential, the journey to the center is not so linear. At each chakra, there are whirlpools and curvatures. There is the interplay of samskaras. Then there are the traps of ego that ambush you. So, like the ups and downs we face in life, the inner journey also has its own flavors of ups and downs. Here is a mundane example, which but it helps make the point. So we did talk about this summary graph of the Dow Jones. So I'll go to this point straight. So at the fifth chakra and again at the sixth, we avoid the fight and do not undergo the four stages of opening at these chakras in the same sequence we did in the previous chakras. So, from the fourth chakra, our consciousness shifts to the periphery of the seventh chakra. So, the turbulence of the air element present at the fifth chakra makes it wiser for us to approach from a higher state of consciousness. So, we ended at this paragraph. So, now we go into this clarity, confusion, and the onward journey. So the fifth chakra is the air element, and its nature is to be in flux. Whether it's the gusts and gales above the ocean, the zephyr in the meadow, or the rhythmic pulse of breath going in and out, the air is never static. There is always some movement, some churn. In chapter 7, I mentioned there is one moody chakra whose rotation is not fixed. It is the fifth chakra. True to its element, its vacillating nature vacillating nature shows up in both clockwise and on counterclockwise motions, always in flux. So, in our minds and spirits, the turbulent nature of the air element is reflected in intense swings between the opposite feelings. So in one moment you may feel wave of sadness and tears welling up for no specific reason. In the next you are laughing at someone's joke so hard that you begin to cry. Both these conditions are extreme spike in emotions. So any samskaras at the fifth cause additional vacillations of the mind, blurring clarity and confusion. So let me give you an example. When you have no one with you, you want company. When you have company, you want to be left alone. So anyone who has spent a holiday with their extended family knows what I'm talking about. So there is one more example. After working for some years, people sometimes wish to restart their careers. They want to take a sabbatical and use the time to reorient their career. Now consider this. One fine day, the company you work for suddenly announces layoffs and your position is eliminated. As bad as it sounds, the abrupt change give you the opportunity you always wanted to reset, restart your career. How would you react? So chances are that you would feel about being you would feel sore about being laid off. Just because something does not happen on your terms doesn't diminish the fact that it is still what you wanted. But when you get it, you don't value it anymore. So the grapes are sour when you can't reach them. The grapes are sour even when you reach them. Such is the dilemma unleashed by the samskaras at the fifth chakra. So these similes, I mean, actually, they're so good. So I'm not trying to give any other similes. I'm just reading through. And then we can discuss as some points come up, right? So, in order to shield the aspirant from the emotional swings and from the effects of visions or illusions in the heartfulness way, this chakra is worked in a cascade fashion. So the subtler energy from the higher chakras flows down through the fifth chakra, allowing for clarity to develop while avoiding all other noise. As an aspirant, you don't have to do anything to facilitate this work consciously. Your heart's intuitive intelligence takes care of this. So, what you experience will also guide you. So, here I would like to kind of give you a little explanation on how it goes, right? So we like this, we are going through the first chakra, the second chakra, the third chakra, the fourth chakra, and the fifth chakra. This is our typical journey, and the seventh chakra. So this is 7, 6, 5, 3, 4, 1, and 2. So when we reach the fifth chakra, Babaji in his complete works said one is, see, typically we stay at a first chakra for a longer time before we move to the second. And we stay for a very long time before we move to third, depending on our intensity of the practice, and also there are a lot of factors. Okay, so here again you need to understand this journey is not so linear as it is depicted. See, sometimes we are the first chakra. From first chakra, we can go to the seventh chakra, and then we can come back to the third chakra, and then we can go down to the second chakra, and we might go to the 10th chakra. It doesn't matter. See, here it's random, but we make through this journey several times in our spiritual path. We cross all these points several times in our spiritual path. Sometimes, see, suppose if somebody is giving a sitting, let's say Daji is giving a sitting, and you are at a 10th point, doesn't mean you have reached the 10th point. On that particular day, on that particular time, you are conditioned at the 10th point, and depending on the situations, you might come back to the second point the next day. So don't think in a very linear terms that, okay, once I reach the 10th point, I'm done. I'm there. It's not like that. We go through this journey several times. That is one thing we need to understand. And the second, the curvature, which is this book is talking about, like, for example, thanks. So the curvature we are talking about here, right? So, for example, let's say this is at the first point. And when I move to the second point, so the the path is like this. Suppose you start here, you go here, what happens? There's no external, there is a higher force is required for us to push to the second point here. So the curvature is always like this. So someone has to push us here. Okay. So if there is no right guru or the right, teacher, what happens? Someone who is, though they are very ardent spiritual practitioners, they come back here and they start journey all over. So they are stuck in this cycle forever. Such is the journey. That's why, why do we need a guru, a master? Is because we are always, getting pushed like this to the next level, right? So this is the curvature part, and this is how we do this journey many times. So at fifth point, since this is a very volatile point, it's a very, very volatile state, we might get the clarity and then again we get blurred by the confusion and there is a clarity. So there is a shift. So we are not allowed to stay in this point. Within few minutes, if someone has reached the fifth point, we basically skip the sixth point and they reach the seventh point. And from, like in this explanation, it says, right, from a higher point, the clarity descends to the fifth point. That's why we say, there is a clarity of the fifth point. But if you stay at the fifth point, then it becomes very volatile and confusing. So that's why we are never allowed to stay here at the fifth point, but we can stay at 1, 2, 3, 4 eternally and seventh, but not on fifth and sixth. So when we come to sixth, we'll discuss about that sixth point. I hope this clarifies. I'll stop here for any quick questions and comments, and then we can move to further reading. Okay, so everyone is quiet. So I'll move to the reading. So reading part. So what you experience will also guide you. For example, if our thought power touches this chakra, we may enter a dilemma state in meditation. When we try to recollect the experience afterwards, we have a hazy memory of it like a dream. So this is the sign of the fifth chakra, may have been touched upon during meditation. So aspirants also observe green light when the work is done at this chakra. So the question, Daji, I would like to make a better decision faster. How can meditation help me? The answer is compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. Sometimes I think about this quote, often attributed to Einstein in different contexts. Making good decisions, on an average, we make hundreds of decisions every day. So when we make good decisions, they have a compounding positive effect on our lives. And when we don't, we suffer the consequences. So one very important gift of a meditation practice is discernment. A meditative mind can quickly discern what is good for me, what will help me evolve, what is ennobling for me. So when such clarity exists, decisions are made faster, even with less information. So as we progress in the heart region, discernment keeps getting refined and we experience greater clarity, the quality of the air element. So often we think it's often we think it's the big decisions that matter most. For example, whom to marry, which career to choose, so on. But decision making is not a one and done deal. Decisions form a continuum when many smaller decisions come before and after a bigger ones. So when we steadily improve our batting average in making good decisions, we will become better in achieving our goals. So meditation will help you improve your batting average. It clears the way for the impulses of the heart to surface unobstructed. So when we listen to these impulses and act, the decisions we make are good for us. So I'll stop here so we can get into satsang. So any comments, questions, observations thus far?
Just one question, brother. We,
Okay, go ahead, Yogesh.
so we don't traverse point five. We quickly spend there maybe minutes and then go back to Pinda Pradesh.
Right.
And it may happen many times, right? But um, if let's say in certain situations we need clarity, then does the travel happens due to just the clarity, or is there? What I mean to ask is, do we always go to this point in transit?
Yes, it's a transit point. So, but the the clarity is of the air element, right? So
Mhm.
that's why the air element's quality is clarity and also confusion, the opposite. So
Mhm.
whenever there is a clarity, the air element becomes predominant. Look at it like that. So we don't have to always think in terms of points. So it's a quality of each element we are talking about here. And the fifth point is predominantly air element. And the quality of the air element is clarity and confusion. Make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. That's good. So Yogesh, so you want to give us a sitting today?